Lead the Way, a podcast for school leaders with author, speaker, and educator, Dr. Bill Ziegler.
Welcome to Lead the Way, a podcast for ed leaders by ed leaders in 5 minutes or less. Today, I'm with a complete rock star, a good friend of mine, and just an amazing educational leader leading the way for ed leaders throughout the country, Jethro Jones. Jethro, it's great to have you on the program today.
Hey, thanks, Bill. I'm so excited to be talking with you and someone that I admire greatly. So thank you for having me on your podcast.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss having you. You know, you and I are both NASSP Digital Principal Award winners. So congratulations on that recognition. How exciting is that? I believe that's actually how we met.
Yeah, I think we might have been following each other on Twitter first, and then we met when I got the award in person, which was awesome.
Yeah, congratulations. So, hey, you have something else to congratulate you on. You have a new book that is now out. And why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about that book before we get started with our podcast?
Absolutely. The book is called School X, and it is teaching principals how to create a transformative school experience for their teachers, for themselves, for their students, and for their families. Really a great book where I want to try to help principals be more than managers, be more than leaders, but be designers of their schools.
I love how you say that. And right now, during the time of where school leadership is and educational leadership in general, we need leaders who are just not, managers. They need to be designers and creators and publishers. So that's what we're talking about today, how we can, as ed leaders, be designers. What exactly does that mean? And what do you mean by that? How can we do that as ed leaders? How can we be designers?
Yeah, well, the secret sauce is actually pretty simple. You basically need to take a look at your school from the perspective of somebody else that is a student or a teacher or a community member or a parent and say, what experience does this person have when they interact with my school? And right now, as you said, more than ever, we need schools that are designed to meet the needs of those we're serving. With all this coronavirus closures and reopening online or hybrid or whatever it is, we've got to put those we're serving first and make that our main priority of serving them.
Yeah, what you talk about there is so important for ed leaders, serving others and serving them and having that real servant leader mindset in all that we do. When you talk about being a designer, how can an ed leader be a designer? What's that look like? What's that sound like?
Well, it looks like making long-term decisions. And as you know, I used to live in Alaska, and near Sitka, Alaska, there's a congruence of large rivers, inlets, and the Pacific Ocean. And it's called the Chatham Strait. And down there, all these things come together, makes the water super choppy and really rough. And the superintendent of Sitka School Districts, Mary Wagner, said, there's a way to get through that. And the way to get through that scary place is to focus on the end of it, the horizon on the end. And as you're focusing on the end of that Chatham Strait, you can avoid seasickness and make sure that you're heading in the right direction. And that's what we need to do as school leaders. We need to think not just about we're opening school in the middle of the coronavirus. What is next week going to look like? But we need to look ahead 2 and 3 years, even during this pandemic, and say, what's this going to look like in 2 to 3 years? And make a plan for that. And then work backwards. What kind of a school do we want to have? What kind of students do we want to attract to our school? Because kids need a reason to come to our school. Families need a reason to send their kids to our school. And it's not good enough to have some, wordy, wordsmithed mission statement that tries to meet everybody's needs. We really need to be clear on what it is that we're trying to do and how people can join in that work with us.
Wow, that is so powerful. I really like how you give the illustration of looking to the horizon, because as educational leaders, whether you're a superintendent or a director or a principal or assistant principal, it's easy to get caught up in looking at the waves and looking at the water and looking at the challenges. But when you look at the horizon, you see the goal ahead of you, you focus on that. Thanks so much. That's a really good concept. As we wrap up this discussion, what's one way you would encourage ed leaders to be designers?
So this is, again, a really simple thing to do, but it's not necessarily easy. What you need to do is find someone in your community, whoever that is, whatever their role is, and look at things through their eyes and what they're experiencing. Then make one little thing that will make their life better. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be monumental, doesn't have to change the whole direction of your school district. But if it makes one little thing better for that one person, that's going to make your school better as a whole. Keep doing that and repeat that over and over again. And that's going to be how you design and one thing you can do to make things better.
Oh, that is so precious. Thank you so much for those great words of wisdom, Jethro. And listeners, if you want to get a copy of Jethro's new book, School X, all you have to do is be the first listener to either shoot me an email or a text that says School X with your name, your school, and what state you're from, and I will send you out a free copy of that book today. So, hey, reach out, check out my website, chaselearning.org, get a copy of Jethro's book. Jethro, thank you so much for being on Lead the Way today.
You are welcome. It was an absolute pleasure. And if you want to get a free chapter of the book, you can go to schoolx.me and download that for free.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Jethro.
You've been listening to Dr. Bill Ziegler with Lead the Way. Bill has great resources for school leaders at chaselearning.org. That's chaselearning.org. Thanks for listening to Lead the Way with Dr. Bill Ziegler.